Today, we're going to dig into a word that's so common, we probably use it without even thinking. But what if I told you that behind this one simple-sounding word, there's a whole universe of different meanings just waiting to be unpacked?
So think about it for a second. If you had to make a list of the most essential, the most fundamental words in the English language, what would you put on it? You'd probably think of words like be, have, or do. But what about a word that can link together, say, physical strength, a math equation, and even our entire political system?
Well, that word is power. Yeah, power. We say it all the time, but we're about to look at it in a way that shows just how surprisingly complex and absolutely essential it really is. And get this, what's really fascinating is that power is actually on the official Basic English list. That's a curated set of just 850 words that are supposed to be, well, basic, essential for communication. Which is kind of weird, right? That a word this complicated is considered basic.
So that's the big question for us today. How can one single, supposedly basic word do so much heavy lifting in our language? That's the puzzle we're going to solve by looking at all its different sides.
All right, so to kick things off, let's start with the most obvious meanings of power, the ones we can actually see and feel in the world around us.
Okay, so the first definition is probably what springs into your mind first. Power as pure strength, as energy or force. It's that fundamental quality that just makes things happen.
This example just nails it, doesn't it? When we talk about muscles having power, we mean that raw physical strength, the ability to just exert force and move things. Super straightforward.
But here's where it gets interesting. That very same idea of force and control can stretch into something totally abstract. The classic phrase, fight the power, isn't about fighting someone's muscles. It's about challenging authority, a system. The core idea of control is the exact same. It's just shifted from a body to a social structure.
And from there, it's really not a huge leap to another physical meaning we literally couldn't live without. Power as energy, and more specifically, electricity. This is a perfect example from our everyday lives. When the power goes out, it's not some abstract idea. It's the literal electricity that lights up our homes and cities. It's the same exact word, but now it has this very specific technical meaning. Okay, so we've covered the physical stuff, but the word power also makes its way into the much more abstract worlds of science and math. And in these fields, it takes on some really precise meanings.
And check out this contrast. It's so cool. In physics, power is a rate. It's this continuous, uncountable flow of energy over time. But then you jump over to math, and suddenly power is countable. It's a specific instruction, a whole number, telling you how many times to multiply something. It's the same word for two totally different, super precise ideas.
So let's see how that math definition actually plays out. When you say 2 to the power of 3, it's basically like you're reading a recipe. You start with the number 2, and you multiply it by itself 3 times. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 again is 8. The word power is the key that unlocks that whole operation. So we've gone all the way from physical force to these really abstract concepts. Now let's bring it back to the human world, where the word power is used to describe everything from a superhero's special abilities to entire governments. And notice what happens here. The word itself changes. Power becomes plural, powers. It shifts from being this general, uncountable force to a set of specific, countable abilities that a person can actually possess.
And honestly, what's a better example than superheroes? We talk about their powers all the time. Flight, super strength, invisibility. Each one is its own separate, distinct ability. It's a really fun example, but it's also a linguistically perfect use of the word.
And if we take that idea one step further, power can also refer to the actual people or the institutions that hold all the authority. The word itself becomes a name, a label, for the ones in charge.
What's amazing here is just how flexible this definition is. It can work on a super local level, like with a town's mayor and sheriff. It can scale up to the global stage when we talk about world powers. And it can even be totally abstract and a little mysterious with a phrase like the powers that be.
Okay, we're almost there. There's just one final piece to this entire puzzle. See, so far, we've only talked about power as a noun, as something you have. But it's also a verb. It's something you do. When you use it as a verb, to power something means to supply it with energy, to make it work. It's the action of giving that force or electricity we talked about earlier to some kind of machine.
And this one simple sentence just brings everything full circle. It's perfect.
The batteries have power, that's the noun, the energy inside them, and so they are able to power the device, that's the verb, the action of supplying that energy. This is the word in action, literally.
So, there you have it. We've seen how one single basic word can stretch to cover everything from muscles and light bulbs to math problems and superheroes. It just goes to show you how much incredible depth can be hidden in plain sight, in the words we use every day. Which really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other simple words are we all completely underestimating?